And now let's get into props. A ton of props. We know that there are professional prop bettors who are very sharp when it comes to props, and we know that usually they like the Super Bowl more than any other day of the year. What can you tell us in general about interesting sharp action you've taken on props so far?
Okay. In terms of sharp stuff I've taken so far, I've got a couple Russell Wilson things. I've got guys who have bet the over 26.5 pass attempts. I've got with over 30.5 rushing yards, and also I've got Russell Wilson. He's the matchup against him and Peyton Manning in terms of completions. I've got him plus 9.5, plus 05. That was sharp stuff. Now I've also got sharps with Manning going under 27.5 completions. So that's kind of interesting that guys, different sharps are playing the same way in terms of Wilson stuff over and Manning stuff under. That's specific stuff. Also kind of stuff that's kind of focused. Like I've seen, again, there's a couple guys who I keep a good eye on in terms of props, and they've been consistent with No-Show Moreno going under. I've got him under 15.5 rushing attempts. That's minus 115. That's sharp. I have his rushing yards under 60.5, even money. That was sharp. And him to not score a touchdown was minus 150. Sharp action there. And also with Welker, I've got guys playing Welker minus 11.5 receiving yards over Baldwin and plus 11.5 receiving yards over Decker. So that's interesting. And in terms of the consistency, I've got guys going under with Moreno and over with Welker. And we also have the QB sacks under 4.5 minus 35 combined. That was a sharp play. Seattle's field goals over 1.5 was sharp. That was minus 140. And also interesting, Seattle to score the shortest touchdown of the game, minus 115. I kind of like that one myself. So that in terms of sharp stuff, that's the sharper stuff I've seen in terms of props. And there's other ones that I've seen a ton of volume on, but not necessarily sharp.
Wow, that is awesome information right there. And I guess it stands to reason that the sharp action that you take on props is going to sort of square up with the sharp action that you take on the side in total, right?
Yeah, that does make sense. Yeah, and these guys, I mean, the guys who played the props are not guys who played the game, and they both kind of indicate the same thing.
And then, what props have the public in general been betting? Are there any props that where you're going to need a side just because the public's been overwhelmingly on one side or the other?
Yeah, we typically get big action on the alternate spreads in terms of whatever the plus is. Like Seattle winning the game minus 3.5 points plus 185. Big action there. In terms of the minus, not much at all. Seattle minus 7.5 is plus 320 right now. There's big money there. Again, it's because the comeback is big. We also have big money like Denver minus to win by 10.5, plus 350. There's big action there. So that's not necessarily sharp action. It's just people who are attracted to the big payoff price. The yes or no in the defensive touchdown being scored in the game, I've got good two-way action there as well. The yes is plus 165, the no is minus 195, so that's good action there. Things like the first score of the game, instant gratification for people. The touchdown is minus 160, field goal or a safety is plus 135. Again, big action on those things. We talked about No-Show Moreno in terms of whether he'll score a touchdown or not. I've got good two-way action there as well. The sharps laid minus 150. We're up to around 160, 165 right now on the no. But I've got good two-way action from the public drowning out with the yes, taking the plus 130, 135 there. I've got big action on Wilson, actually over 210, 10.5 passing yards. Big money there. Also big money on over his rushing yards over 30.5 minus 125. And people are betting Welker over, which isn't good for us in terms of receptions because it looks like the sharps are kind of leading that way. Welker over 5.5 receptions minus 125. A lot of volume there, and it's going in a way we don't want. And also tons of volume on Percy Harvin, under 4 receptions minus 115. Under is big money there, and I guess people maybe are thinking he's going to take a shot and be out of the game. So he hasn't been very. He's been kind of fragile so far this year.
My sense is that in general the public loves to bet the yeses on things in general, that something is going to happen as opposed to something won't happen. Is that what you've seen this year as well?
Yeah, definitely. And again, like lots of times, in terms of the no, a lot of times it's a minus figure. Like even though yes, no score in the first 6 minutes of the game for 7 minutes, usually you're laying a price, and the public doesn't want to lay a price. We saw it, like I said, with Moreno. They took the plus money, the defensive touchdown, the plus stuff, and again the alternate spreads. It's all the stuff that we have all the action on is where you're getting like plus 185, plus 320, plus 350.
Brent, man, you are awesome. Thanks so much for giving us all this information. So between now and kickoff, what kind of action are you expecting? Are you expecting like an explosion of action on Sunday on everything?
Yeah, Sunday's going to be a big day in terms of the wagering volume, and we encourage obviously everyone to get in as soon as they can. A lot of the games that are taking place on Sunday in other sports, they kind of finish early, so everything's left to the Super Bowl. So people kind of are waiting for those games to be graded and final stuff like that before they throw money at the Super Bowl. But obviously there's going to be a big rush, and of course people who are sitting on money that they have an action on Saturday, they're going to be firing that on Sunday. So Sunday, in terms of just the volume, it's going to be a crazy day. I think we've had the line out for a few weeks now. The betting patterns are going to hold true in terms of the count's going to be in favor of Denver. We're going to need Seattle small. Sharps will be on Seattle as well. So I think we'll be all right.
All right, so what would you estimate the ratio of the volume that you'll take up to Sunday to the volume that you'll take on Sunday is? Is like the amount of action that you take on Sunday equal, would you say, to all the action that you take on leading up to Sunday?
Well, the dollar volume's just been really big right now, so I don't expect the dollar volume to be as big. It'll be smaller than what we've taken so far, just because we had so many days and so many big bets. So, I mean, Sunday, what people can fire is basically what they have in their account. So it's not going to be as big as what we've taken up until now, but it'll be, I would say maybe closer to 30%, 25%, but still, that's going to be a ton of action because the count is just insane right now.
So it sounds like then this Super Bowl, as compared with others, is generating at least as much, if not more, than any Super Bowl in recent history.
Yeah, no, that would be an accurate statement, Peter. I mean, this line, in terms of, you're talking about two of the best teams and not just, like a 6 seed, 7 seed who kind of got there or anything crazy like that. The number's right in terms of the total is like, people are attracted to Denver in terms of betting the over. People like Seattle's defense. It's just a real intriguing game, so people are firing a lot.
And so before we let you go, let's just, give a snapshot of what you're probably going to quote unquote need on this game. Is basically the same as what you discussed on Monday, that basically like a blowout is what you would love here?
Yeah, a blowout would be good for us, that's for sure. Again, I don't think we're going to need anything on the total at all. We're sitting at 48 right now. I think that number is just going to be bouncing back and forth. It might go down a little bit, might go up a little bit, but we're going to be okay in terms of what we need. The public is still going to be betting Denver, and people with a lot of money, the oil money as you call it, Peter, will continue to bet Denver. The Sharps will come in on Seattle. If we ever bump our line up to my line goes up to 35 or 40, they'll take Seattle. If we go from 2 to 2.5, they'll take Seattle. So I think we're going to be in a position where we're going to need Seattle, and so long as I don't think we're really have any fear of a game landing anywhere or getting middle or anything like that. If people bought Seattle to +3 and it lands 3, that's not going to hurt us at all as well. So we're going to be fine. And so far, actually heading into this weekend, we've had a great week so far, so we'll be fine.
All right, great. So it sounds like you've got huge action, and it's mostly balanced, and that you're roughly going to juice out in a nice way.
Yeah, that's a great thing. If you juice out on the Super Bowl, you're doing all right.
All right. Awesome call once again. Thanks so much for all this great information as usual, Brent, and we'll talk to you again very soon.